All right, so kind of the same thing as the knee tap, but adding another layer, right? This kind of chains into the chain wrestling that I was mentioning earlier. Being capable of, adding multiple moves makes it much easier to be able to take down our opponent, right? So posting, we get this underhook here. Our forehead is on our opponent's temple. I like to grab the head just because it's easier for me to control and kind of weigh down on his head. Here, instead of circling this way, I'm going to circle the other way towards the side of my underhook. Here, this brings this leg closer towards me. Here, I can begin kind of extending my leg. So I'll shuffle step into him as I extend my leg just to kind of get this leg away. And then I can begin doing the same sort of knee tap where I'm bringing my knee or my arm over my opponent's knee, and I extend this arm up and over to get my opponent's upper body over that knee, right? So we're here, I get that trip, and then I'm extending and running. Notice how I'm bringing my opponent's upper body across that knee that I'm blocking. So I get this underhook, my forehead is on my opponent's temple. Instead of circling this way, I'm circling the side to the side of the underhook. Here, I shuffle step and push my opponent's leg back. From here, I'm going to begin posting by my opponent's far leg and extending his upper body up and over that knee. Always keep in mind, when I'm extending that arm, I'm bringing thumb down to make it a lot easier. So we're here, underhook. Here, that's 13. So I have underhook. I'm grabbing like a collar tie on the far side of my opponent's head. I'll circle this way, bump that leg. Now that we're here, post by the far knee and extend and run through.
Standing up, doing the arm drag and takedown. So every time I'm here standing up, I always try to keep holding him, like tricking him. To make sure he doesn't know where I want to attack. So I focus on his front leg. So it's the easiest one for me to trap. Now that I go for arm drag, 1, 2, 3, look, boom, go down. So some details here that are important. As he's falling, I open my hands and I post it. Because sometimes I can hurt my hands like this or even with my fingers like this. I want to avoid injury. Other things, when I take him down, it's very important to think about the next step. I don't want to take him down and just keep him loose. He can just push me away, put me back in the guard, or even stand up. So as I'm here, boom, lock. Very tight. I have to be really tight. Okay, I don't want him to have space to escape. So some other details. As I go and trap his leg, I trap and do this. Boom. Okay? So, slow motion. 1, 2. When I go in to trap, this hand release. Alright? Because if I take him down like this, he goes from the back. Boom. Right away. I don't want that to happen. So, it's very important to release. And a common mistake is when I go, boom, take it out. Yeah, they take it out. Why? Because your feet goes too low. I really have to go in and trap like this, look. See? He tried to get out and he couldn't. So, details, very important, and it helps me a lot during training and competition, but it's also a technique and a takedown that it doesn't take a lot of effort, a lot of strength to do it. So you can easily get the timing, and it's very important. Everything you learn in Jiu-Jitsu, you must get the right time to apply. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to do it right. So try it slow first. Go like slow motion, and then keep drilling and doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then keep putting a little bit of more pressure so you can have the right time to do this technique.
What starts to happen when you go for the first, the folding backwards, see, I start to roll it inside, very naturally we'll get a few things. First off, Shai might get the idea, of rotating his shoulder inside. Whenever this happens, you have often get people who have the fantastic idea to put their hip forward and start to toss, but you will quickly feel it's a bad idea because my weight distribution is off. In this case, I decided to go with the rotation. So I pivot inside, Shai rotates his shoulder in, and now, so rotate your right shoulder more in, please, Shai. Yeah. I start to go with the rotation, I start to go more backwards. Now, if the arm would be not here, move the arm away, I can keep walking until I have a 45-degree angle. Go back, please, Shai. However, in this case, since Shai's shoulder goes forward, his hips tend to go backward. So I bring my elbow towards the hip and keep rotating while I pivot on my toes. In this moment, I usually decide to let go of my arm, go behind the leg, and put my hand inside his kneecap. This allows me to bend his knee and also protects me. In this case, he would go for the scissor takedown. You know which one I mean? So put the hand on the floor. Exactly. We never allow this in our gym for safety reasons, but I still have to learn to deal with it in competition, and my way to deal with it is to prevent it. This is one layer I choose not to go into. So I like to put my hand behind and keep my leg backwards, and he can keep pivoting. In case Shai would decide now to rotate his right shoulder in, see, I can always go back to the rocking chair sweep, and I go underneath and sweep up. Go back up, please, Shai. Usually, however, what they do, they start to rotate the other side, and I'm gonna start walking around. Don't move, please. If he keeps pivoting, the game just keeps going forever. So to go backside, yeah, and start to set up my back take attack that I'll show in the next part.
Alright, now we're gonna work a 2-on-1 counter. So when my opponent gets a 2-on-1 and they start pulling me into the guard here. So obviously as an outside passer, our worst enemy is them having strong connection. So they have the 2-on-1 and he starts to pull my arm inside here. He can start forcing my hands to the mat, going reverse telehiva. Now he has back exposure as well because my arms passed across his body. He can start to set up, trying to chase my back. And also it's just a bad thing for me because I'm not disengaged, right? I'm not at a distance where I can use my mobility and my movement to put him at a disadvantage. So probably I shouldn't do this side first. When he goes 2-on-1, as he starts to pull my hand towards the floor, and he's trying to catch this reverse telehiva. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna almost exaggerate the movement. I'm gonna bring my hand to the floor quicker than he's pulling. So as he pulls my hand, I'm gonna punch my hand straight into the mat here. Now my right hand, I'm gonna start to reach, depending on how flat he is. If he's already gone to his back, if I can reach and start to club the head, this is perfect. If not, we can go for an intermediate section. So if I feel like his head's a bit too far away, yeah, he's on his elbow, I'm just gonna go 2 hands on the mat. My left heel, I'm gonna bring it to my own butt, and I'm almost gonna do a windshield wiper here. So I'm trying to avoid getting caught in this reverse telehiva here. So I'm gonna start to bring my heel to my butt, and I can do a little knee cut or a little windshield wiper over. These are the 2 options for either windshield wiper, or I go heel to butt and I knee cut over the top here. Whichever one you feel like you have more mobility with and you're faster with, we can do. So what it looks like is as he's pulling down, I'm gonna go hands on the mat, and I'm gonna start to tuck and start to crawl towards the north-south here. Now my right hand, I can start to reach over the back, clubbing, and we can start cutting the angle here. I don't always get the pass from here, but I feel like it's a very good way to restart the scramble, right? Like what I don't want is for him to get connection. So the worst case scenario that happens for me is when he pulls my hands to the floor. As I go, I create this angle where I can start to disengage, and now I can start to recut my angles and start a scramble again. So he goes 2-on-1, he forces the hand to the floor. I'm immediately wary of him catching my inside leg. If his leg is on the outside when he's going as well, I'm gonna start to post, and I can start to jump back over here. The main thing is just pulling this heel to my butt to avoid getting caught by his inside leg. So as he's pulling my hand across, I go hand inside the hip, right hand comes over, and I almost switch my hip slightly so I can tuck, cross step, and I can start to run towards north-south, almost like a bulldog pass, I guess. Start crawling towards the north-south here. So it's 2-on-1, he's forcing my hands to the mat. I post, as he's falling, I start to crawl, circling around here. If he's pulling and he's staying seated, it's the same stuff. Here, if he's just trying to pull my hand across, me diving across like this is avoiding back exposure as well, and I can start countering, diving back in. So I've gone from him creating an angle to me having my own angle here. So, time. Here, he's pulling across, and on the mat, and I can start to dive. Sometimes I'm dropping to my knee, sometimes I'm not. This is up to you. It's situational, so have some personal play with it. So here, coming down, tucking heel to the butt to avoid cooling around. And if I really don't like his control, I can post on his chest and strip my hand away, and then we can start our passing sequences.
Okay, you're pulling guard, right? You're looking to wrestle up. There's three main ways your opponent's going to look to react off of you pulling guard, right? Option one, he's going to be in a staggered stance. Option two, he'll have feet together. Or option three, he pulls to his knees, being on his knees, attacking the open guard. So option two, right? My opponent is standing with his knees fairly together. You see this like, in my most recent match, Yuri Samoa, is when I pull guard, and when most opponents pull guard on Yuri, he stops for a second and his feet are together. He's like almost waiting, trying to figure out what to do, and then before he engages, he starts moving. So let's say I pull guard and my opponent has his feet together. More together? Yeah, exactly. This is like, for whatever reason, it isn't a very athletic stance, but it's quite common to see top guys play from this position. The advantage of this position makes it hard to go double kuchi because there's not a lot of space for me to get in here. The disadvantage is it's not very athletic because his feet are close together. So in positions like this, oftentimes I like to use hand on head position, like collar type position, and an ankle pick, right? I'll take my hand behind my opponent's heel and I'll push the head over the foot, over the knee, to place him down on the mat. So you pull guard immediately, and you're pretty close to your opponent. I'll take a collar tie. I'll take my secondary hand to the heel, and I'll push the head and look to heist up right away. From here, I have the goal of getting them supine, getting the shoulders flat to the mat. I can look to pass and start working from this position. So a very simple ankle pick that works pretty well. So I pull guard, boom, and my opponent is, while he's trying to figure out what to do, he meets me with a square stance, and his feet are pretty close together. I'll take a hand on the head, the collar tie, and as I pull the head down, I'll cup the back of the heel. He'll start pulling his head up, and as he does so, makes it easier to push the head over the knee. So mechanically, all I really need for an ankle pick to work is the head to get over his knee, and as I push the head over the knee, in order to stop this, he needs to backstep, right? So you backstep this leg in order to stop it. I take my hand and I place the meat of my hand on the mat, cupping the heel. Where people go wrong is they go to the knee, which you need more momentum. Like this would be a standing position if I go knee pick. Or they're a bit high, like around the calf, and they try to push. When you're around the calf, they still have enough strength here to backstep as you go for it. So it's not as beneficial as it is putting the meat of your palm on the mat and cupping the heel, right? So we're in a position where I pull guard and he's fairly square. I'll go collar tie with the goal of pulling it down, and then as he pulls up, I'm transitioning to the heel and pushing the head over the heel, and immediately I'll start working some passing position. But nevertheless, I've gained the top position. So once again, we pull guard in front of a square opponent. I'm close enough that I can work collar ties and I can reach the foot. I go lead hand collar tie and I pull the head down. As he reactively pulls the head up, I'll go ankle pick, place the meat of my palm on the mat, cupping the heel, and I'll use this tight collar tie to push his head over. If I'm extended, it's not going to work nearly as well as being tight. I block, I push, boom, ankle pick, and start putting him down towards the mat. So a couple of reps here. Collar tie, he pulls up, ankle pick, boom, get him down right away and heist up. Let's go this way. Opponent's in a square position. Collar tie left hand, hand to the mat on the heel, ankle pick and heist up. Also, notice how my feet are in the proper position for heisting. When I'm pulling the head down, I'm going ankle pick, I have heel to butt and left leg lead. That way it's pretty easy for me to build up right away and continue my offensive cycle. So I pull guard, opponent's fairly square. Heavy collar tie, he pulls up, hand to the ankle, pick it, and boom, looking to pass right away. So when you pull guard against an opponent that has a square stance, their feet are pretty close together, we have multiple options. One of the better options is to attack the ankle pick, having the goal of pushing the head over the knee while attacking the ankle pick, right? Taking your hand to the mat so he can't backstep, pushing the head over the knee, forcing it off balance. Now, another very common reaction. Let's say I go for the ankle pick, but he remains standing. I have downward pressure on the head. I go for the ankle pick, and as he builds height, he gives a little back step, and he lightens his foot, right? So I'll take two hands to this foot, and I'll pick it up, and I'll pull it down and swing it down and around, right? Two things will happen. This will either put him right down towards the mat, or it'll off balance him enough so you can heist up and start wrestling up. So option one is a standard collar tie ankle pick, right? Where we see it in wrestling all the time from a standing position. You'll pull in the opponent's leg, you'll pull the collar, and boom, we have an ankle pick from standing. Now, because it's jiu-jitsu, you can ankle pick from a seated guard. So where I pull down guard, I go collar tie, he has a square stance, so I can ankle pick and heist up right away. Now, let's say you fail the ankle pick to where you didn't give enough push off of the head, he's able to build up and remain standing. So this usually happens when you don't get enough drive off of your lead hand to where he just backsteps and builds up and he makes his front leg light. I'll take two hands to the ankle and I'll swing this down and pull it up. And this typically off balances him. It gives you enough time to heist up and start working a passing position. In wrestling, you see this very similar movement to where opponents get single leg, and you see this happen in the Russian wrestling rooms, right? It's where you have two hands on ankle, you pull a leg down and bring it up. I'm going to do it so you can fall down and up, right? So this is a very similar variation of this, but instead of standing, we're from the guard pull, from the butt. So we pull guard, boom. I'm ready for offensive. I see my opponent's legs are pretty close together, so it's a great opportunity to start becoming offensive with ankle picks. Collar tie, pulling the head down. As he builds head height, I go for ankle pick. He backsteps to react for the ankle pick. I take two hands to ankle. I rotate this down and up in order to off balance him, and I build hip height immediately. So I go from a guard pulling position to ankle pick. As he defends the ankle pick, use my secondary attack. Opponent has square stance. Collar tie, pull the head down, he builds height, he reacts from the ankle pick. As he lightens his foot, I pick it up off the ground, I swing it down and up, and I'm able to put my opponent down towards the mat. From here, I can get right to J-point passing, camping, or whatever kind of sequence I want. But nevertheless, you go from a defensive position to hips on top of his, and we're working on offensive sequence. So yet again, opponent's in front of me. Collar tie, pull the head down. As he builds head height, I go for the ankle pick. That fails because he backsteps. I take 2-on-1 towards his unweighted foot. I rotate it down and up, and then I'm able to put him right down towards the mat where I can start working my passing series. Once again, come this way. Good. Collar tie, ankle pick, he builds height and backsteps. Rotate down and up, boom, and I build hip height. So again, option one, I go for collar tie, pull the head down, work the ankle pick, put him down, heist up. Option two, he defends the ankle pick, boom, by backstepping, rotate this down and up, and I'm starting to heist up, getting my hips on top of this. So you can work these two variations together, right? I always have the idea of having another attack in the chamber. I said this earlier, but the longest The longest scrambles in the room or in jiu-jitsu are like 45 to 60 seconds. So you have to have enough attacks to be offensive for 60 seconds. So this is one of those movements where you're going to chain multiple attacks together. We go from using a standard ankle pick from the butt. So as he reacts properly, we go for a swooping motion, putting his hips down towards the mat and gaining hip height. Hip height wins the scramble, and that's what I'm helping you guys do. Win the scramble with a wrestle.